Good evening, Shuffle Bus Riders. What is up? It's your boy Jesse, back here as always with my good friend and co-host Neil. My mic is completely out of position for some reason, so Neil, how are you, man?
Good,
Good.
good. Just got done watching the Stoneblade stream.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we're gonna unpack spoilers tonight. There's been a few more spoilers to talk about. Both the Stoneblade news that came out on Monday dropped a couple of spoilers, and then I believe there was a spoiler dropped on Eli's channel last night or somebody's channel last night. I'm not sure I remember who it was right now. And then obviously then Stoneblade dropped another spoiler on their live stream here right before the show. So we're gonna unpack both of those and go over all that. The other thing I'd like to unpack is the Great Viking game sale from this weekend. Did you participate in that at all?
I did not.
Okay.
I just was really busy and missed it completely.
You know, it's interesting. I mean, there were some decks on there that were pretty monstrous, dude. Like, you
They
know,
always have a good selection.
yeah, there was, there was a couple of things I was pretty impressed with on that particular, uh, sale, and so I did pick up a couple of decks, which was cool. I'm happy to have gotten my hands on them. I think that I wish they do that more often. I guess is what I'm getting at. I wish that was a more frequent occurrence than what it is right now.
They were doing
Um,
it like every week for a while. Did that stop?
I think so. I haven't seen one for quite some time. This is the first time I've seen one in a while. Maybe I'm wrong, and somebody in chat can correct me. But that's definitely one of those things. Um, Apparently, I have dubbed a new name for Oakfather. We're now to call Oakfathers Oaks Daddies.
Don't make it weird.
I can't help it, man. I make up names for stuff, as you called it out in our World Championship coverage. So, um, yeah, I mean, we're kind of. I mean, we have all the spoiler stuff happening, but like on the tournament side of things, we're kind of in a lull, right? Like we're not seeing a lot of competitive play emerging right now, which kind of makes sense when you think about it, just because there's really not a reason to yet, right? Like most of us are kind of on the fence or waiting to see if we're going to see anything happen to RSE or Krogius for that matter. Although, based on based on the spoiler from Set Three tonight, which we'll get to in just a little bit, I would say that we probably won't see an answer like a Krogius response.
You
Plus,
mean you mean a change?
yeah, some sort of change to Krogius.
Yeah, I agree.
But I do think that Rumble Spark is still potentially exposed and potentially going to get changed from Stoneblade. I just don't know how soon we'll see that announcement. And that is honestly probably something we should talk about because that's part of the reason why we haven't announced a new tournament is I don't want to run a tournament and then see update to either the renown system or RSE happen mid tournament, right? Like I would rather see those things get rolled out from Stoneblade and then run a new tournament than
Right.
um, do something different there.
I'm I'm kind of of the opinion that they haven't addressed it by now. They're not going to.
Sure.
So
I mean, it's very possible, but I mean, really, honestly, like you kind of figure it's only been 2 weeks since Gen Con, and obviously they've been 3 weeks since Gen Con, but I don't count the week immediately following Gen Con because that's kind of everybody's like recoup and recover week after the event. So I don't expect a ton of work to come out from a place like Stoneblade uh, in that timeline.
sure. Yeah.
So so I do think that in all fairness, we've had like two kind of real working weeks since Gen Con, and if they were testing something internal, right, and hadn't been doing it pre Gen Con, and really decided, you know what, Gen Con really sort of set the tone, then it's possible that now they're considering it, right, and would need a little bit of time to understand what the best solution would be
I,
instead of jumping into something.
I'm not I'm not saying that it's for sure not going to happen. I feel like we would have had something by now.
I mean,
Um,
it's very possible, and I may be, not reading the room well enough here, but I just think it's a long time before we get set. I mean, I made my opinion known before, but it's a long time before we get set three, right? March, April of 2024 at this point,
yeah.
and that you're talking at this point, we're 6-7 months from a set three release, and does that just give Rumble Spark 6-7 months to just sort of dominate things, or do you, if you're Stoneblade, do you step in and you say, you know what, we want to spice up the meta a little bit, we want to see some innovation, we want to see some different things happen, and make a
Well,
change? I mean,
I'm not sure that they're very incentivized to do that even. Uh, like they got a lot on their plate right now as it is, and the there's not a lot going on between now and then.
right.
There's a couple of them northern Midwest cons we know
Hmm.
are in the fall, and then PAX. But the we're getting spoilers now for the set that's in 7 months. But the reason that that's happening is because we're trying to get hype for the Kickstarter, right? Like, because
Right.
the Kickstarter is only a month and a half away. Uh, I think.
I think it's like
I don't.
October, November timeline, right?
So maybe like 2 months.
Yeah, I think we're looking
Um,
at 2 months ish. I was over in the Team Covenant Discord this week, and Justin Gary actually commented on a post over there, specifically talking about sort of the purpose behind the Kickstarter. And so it was really an extrapolation from Ankh, which we know Ben is pretty. Um, he's pretty insightful, and he's a very intelligent person. So his impression of the town hall, which we can probably unpack tonight a little bit more if we want to as well, was that basically a bunch of work has been done to the app already, and so they just need some marketing um, wind in their sails, essentially, for the game. Like, they need some way to like boost the bandwidth of the game into the sort of general gaming ethersphere, and Kickstarter gives them a great marketing opportunity.
Great.
Um,
It's obviously just outside their budget.
yep.
Like, or they wouldn't go to Kickstarter.
Well, that's not what's really being said here. So Ben says, so somebody in the I gotta back this up just a little bit. I don't want to read the whole thread, but somebody inside of the Covenant Discord said, "So is the Kickstarter really more for the app than for Set 3? This is what's got me confused." And Ben said that was my impression, and a lot of work has already been done on the app. From what has been said in passing, it sounds more like the Kickstarter is to provide an influx of funds so they can finish it faster. I could be wrong, just an impression. Um, so and Justin Gary's comment to that take was, "This is pretty spot on." So yeah, I think that's really where they're at.
Right. But none of that is like contrary to what I said.
No, no, no,
Like
that's true. That's true.
it's
I just
and
wanted to be really
it's
clear on
not
the
necessarily
representation of
like
it.
right. It's I mean, if they just had a big budget, they would just like buy the marketing and um they just invest in the marketing and invest in fast tracking the app.
Right.
But I mean, that's a big budget. It's not like a it's not like a knock against them that they don't have it, but that's uh just like that seems like the only reason that you would take a successful product back to Kickstarter.
Right. I agree. I mean, I'm not in disagreement with you at all. Kind of quite contrary. I do think um Justin's announcement around the app and some of that stuff, I think there's a couple of questions that leave me lingering out of that town hall. One is, do we think Solforge actually has a future as a physical card game? Or is it really just the start of
Well,
the transition to digital?
it has been my experience that every game that has either started paper, with the exception of Magic, that barely counts because it just has infinite money,
Right.
right?
Right.
And the other Wizards product, I guess Pokemon, but uh, essentially every game that has launched as a hybrid physical digital product or has gone digital after its release
Hmm.
has fully dropped the physical half.
Right.
And I mean, that's again just business. Like
Right. Oh yeah.
part I won't out the person on stream because I don't know that they want to be attributed to this quote, but
Sure.
a big name that I talk to quite often had made this statement long ago that Solforge wastes a lot of cardboard,
Sure. Sure.
being that it is based upon a game that was fully digital. It was then printed as a physical game and is now going back digital again.
Hmm.
And I mean that's fine with me. I played the hell out of the digital game. I loved it.
Right.
Uh, it's going to change the dynamic of what we as a community do
Well,
if that happens.
it also
I mean,
changes.
I know it's in their goal pattern right now to retain the physical portion as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we don't know, assuming the Kickstarter funds and it's successful, which I bet it will be because they're, even if they have, you know, half or 30% of the first Kickstarter, they're going to fund
Right.
because they funded by, I don't know, 12 times the amount that they set for the first Kickstarter.
Right. Yeah.
It was like 250 over 20,000 goal.
Right.
So the 250,000 over 20,000 goal, to be clear. I don't know if that was a misnomer by me, but so I have full confidence that their Kickstarter is going to fund. I don't know what you know, what the backing will be or like, what it's all for. And they had told, somebody had said, and I don't take this as a grain of salt because I don't remember the source, had said that like Set 3 was ready to go to print. Uh, and that was kind of what we were taking our estimation of like holiday time on. So if that's the case, if Set 3 is like through development or mostly through development, then and this Kickstarter is mostly for uh the digital app that tracks with what Ben was saying, that tracks with what Gary was saying. So assuming the Kickstarter funds, which I have no doubt that it will, their timeline should be good, and their current roadmap still contains the physical product.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Obviously, there's a part of me that hopes that the physical game lingers, right? Like that they can continue to have this duality exist and be
Yeah,
successful.
I mean, I would too. Like, I have liked traveling to the tournaments and meeting everybody. I've liked playing the game in person. I don't want that to go away. And for the foreseeable future, it won't. It's not going to be like um, it's not going to be like Kickstarter funds, app takes off, we cut off physical printing. That won't happen.
Right.
Like,
Right.
we'll
Right.
print Set 3, we'll print Set 4. If the app is going absolutely bonkers, maybe they'll make a decision by Set 5 or whatever.
Sure.
Because that's kind of been the thing, right? Like Age of Sigmar was like that, where they printed 4 or 5 sets or whatever, and then went full digital.
Sure.
Gorman says Lucas had confirmed that Set 3 was ready to print. So, like I said, if the app development wasn't in the picture, I believe that we would have been correct with our estimation of like holiday time for Set 3 just coming out. But it has obviously been pushed back to be an incentive piece of the Kickstarter for the app development.
Yeah. I think, I mean, obviously, there's a lot to there's not a lot you can unpack from this, but I do think that I do think the town hall was a good step for Justin to get out in front of the community a little bit and talk about what was
all
happening
the all
here.
this all the stuff regarding the app was positive.
Right.
Um, and there's been more chatter, in the Discord and among the Stoneblade members and everybody talk just like the app is well on the way. Um,
Yeah.
sometime in the near future, there will be some kind of closed beta. The Kickstarter is going to have a Kickstarter beta. I don't know if there will be an open beta or something prior to release, but
Well, and
I
obviously,
mean,
like we're not
it all seems like they're on good track.
right, and obviously we're not Stoneblade, so I want to be really clear here. Like, um, we're just doing this more as an exercise of fun, and we have to create content, right? So like,
But it's
um,
just the news.
right, right, and
Like,
I mean, but I was gonna take that a next step and kind of get back to this. What would you do for the next 6 months if you were in charge at Stoneblade Organized Play right now, or you were in charge of Stoneblade's development team, or something that would have some sort of impact on how the game is played in a competitive environment right now? Would you make a change?
well, that was going to be my next point was like everything about the app in the town hall was positive,
Right.
and Justin was there ready to answer the questions about that stuff. The one negative thing I think about the town hall was the questions about specifically what you're talking about Krogius and about Rumble Spark, and just about like the face of OP waiting for set 3 to come out.
Right.
And there was essentially no answer to that during the town hall.
Right.
And I don't know that, like, there's been no announcement about Rumble. There's been no announcement about Krogius. And to your point, like, we were essentially talking about Krogius on the stream today based on the card that, quote, like, is a Krogius counter. I don't know if I agree with that, but that leads me to believe that at least Krogius will stay the same.
Sure.
But you're right. I mean, I don't. I think it would be good for the game if there was an announcement, whether it's some change to make it better or just an announcement that said we're not going to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's better than no, like, no news is bad in this case,
Sure.
where, some people are going to, like, you're never going to make everybody happy in this kind of thing, right?
I agree.
Everybody's going to have an opinion on what RSE should do. Everybody's going to have an opinion on, like, whether or not you should be able to play Krogius. But ultimately it's their decision to make, and they just need to make it because people are asking about it. And specifically Eli asked Justin straight up on the town hall, and there's just no answer.
Right.
My personal opinion is they just need to make a statement right now, and they would sell more product if they changed it. I think if they made some change,
It would certainly open up the potential sales of any excess White Fang pass that's still kind of lingering around, right? Right. Like, I mean, we know there's.
They just announced on the stream tonight, like an hour ago, that September 6th or September 7th is like the landing date in the rest of the world. So all of a sudden this new market's going to open up for White Fang. And maybe because they've never had it before, it won't have any effect on it. They'll just buy a bunch of it anyway. But I would think that they would sell more boosters in general with a change made, because that would incentivize people over here to buy more.
Right.
It would also, I think, just like put a healthy spin on the competitive level of the game for the people that are ready to invest in Europe or wherever it's going to land in September.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like we don't have a crystal ball, and we don't know what the correct path is for them. But I think I'm pretty heavily leaning towards, like, in order to keep organized play moving forward in a healthy direction, it's probably necessary to make a change to Rumble Spark. And it may be necessary to make a change to Krogius, even if they are printing quote unquote Krogius counters. Um, I mean, I don't. We can unpack that spoiler a little bit more, and we will here in a further part of the show. I just don't want to dive into it too deep right now. But I think I think the game would be. I think there'd be a little more buzz around the game in the existing tournament player base. There'd be more incentive to want to play in tournaments right now. And what I mean by that is like if you, it's pretty obvious that if you want to do pretty well, um,
Gorman, I wasn't live on the chat. When I watched the town hall, Eli asked the question and he kind of said, like, we're not here to talk about OP, we're here to talk about the Kickstarter.
yeah,
Um,
he just
which
said it's
maybe
not.
which maybe which maybe meant that we're not gonna make any changes. And uh I didn't really take it that way. I just kind of like what I heard was just like we're not here to talk about OP.
Sure.
But maybe I'm wrong because I just
I mean,
watched
I
the
do
bot
I
of
do
with that.
remember him sort of kind of backdooring the answer with "I do not plan to change anything," as what Gorman's saying. I remember Justin sort of saying that, but my inference or takeaway from that was more that he didn't want to say anything right now or change anything right now
Yeah,
or make
and
any sort of
if
announcement about it right now.
if there's somebody in chat that like both Rusty and Gorman are saying they didn't, so maybe they have come out and said they're just not going to change it, and I misunderstood.
Yeah,
If that's the case, like that's fine. Like I
sure.
said, that this the thing that I think is important is that we just know like now.
Yeah. So if that's the case, Neil, like, does that does it excite you to play Constructed Soulforge at all? If it
Sure.
stays
I
where it
mean,
is, I mean, do you find yourself really wanting to engage in Constructed Soulforge tournaments?
well, I mean, I knew what the format looked like before Gen Con, so
Sure, sure.
it's not like it changed anything.
No, no,
You
I
know,
know.
we know it's a Rumble Spark meta.
Right.
Does that make me any more or less likely to play? Like, I don't know that I would pay $50 um to enter a big giant tournament like a $50 tournament, but yeah, I'll play like online stuff and
Sure.
like side events and sealed and stuff like
Okay.
and constructed, just not a $50 entry to
Yeah,
constructed,
for
you
sure.
know.
For sure.
Uh
Okay. Well, I mean, I think obviously there's not much else to say about it until we hear differently. Rumble Boy is the Rumble
I
Heart
mean
deck is here to stay,
we
right?
got like uh
Madunga's adding, personally, I'm not
yeah,
interested in
see
exploring
this
Constructed
is
seriously as long as no Elementalist is around.
what I wanted to say. We got like 10 people in chat. Like what do you guys think? Like, does this affect your desire to play constructed? Obviously Mendungu is anti-rumble.
Madungu saying, I'll do some casual set 3, set 4 stuff and play online a bit, but mostly looking for sealed if Constructed doesn't have major changes. Yeah, I think that's the temperament I get from people I've talked to offline, not on our show, obviously, or in our chat right now, but just from people that I talk to out in the wild, just having casual conversations on Discord messages or whatever it may be. Those are um, those are the hints that I've sort of seen. So, it is what it is. I mean, I think we have to live with what it is for right now. Um, but I agree. I think sealed is just a much more
So
fun way to experience the game right now.
Gorman says, I don't think RSE or Krogius are fun to play or play against. Newt says, I'm going to be doing random picks. So, I mean, it's a pretty strong voice when three people that were in top 8 at Worlds are here kind of saying like they don't want to play constructed right now.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly
Uh,
the heart, kind of the feeling I have about it too, right? Like I'll play, like I'm very much in a similar boat to like what Cardboard News talking about. where I would try some random stuff that looks kind of fun, but obviously I'm not sure I want to be hyper competitive, because to be hyper competitive, I think you better have a good Nova deck, and you better have a good Krogius, like seriously Army Commander deck. I think those are your two real options. And not that Darkforge Drain isn't good. Um, you know, I think that the Oros Darkforge Drain is like a half a tier below those decks. In terms of its overall power, it's a little bit more gimmicky and a little bit more cheesy, and I think it's
I mean, I think it's more powerful than like Sam's deck that won Worlds,
it
but
might be. I just I haven't
I don't know if
experienced
it's
that.
better than RSE though.
I just haven't experienced that. Like, and I don't think it beats RSE very often. So Madungu's saying I like the idea of constructed events with unique rules or caveats. So like the digitized event coming up. Yeah, I mean these things
Right.
are
It's just
cool. I mean obviously those things are really cool, and we'll unpack the digitized event some more here.
yeah, it's just non-competitive constructed.
Right. Yeah.
Like
It's
you can treat it as competitively as you want to be, but what we're discussing is like what Stoneblade is going to do for the next 7 months.
right. Right. What is Stoneblade going to do
Um,
to keep the core player base who's played a lot of Solforge interested in playing Solforge?
well,
Week in and
if
week out.
if people are happy to play weird formats like the storyline event
Sure.
or whatever kind of format, they can just have those events at PAX or whatever, and that's fine. It'll still like if there are people with like Newt and Madunga's attitude, then it'll still draw people.
Sure. 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 Okay. So Neil, let's pivot. Uh, let's talk. Let's talk about the Grey Viking game sale. I don't know if you looked at the list at all.
I did not.
Okay.
Is it just in the marketplace on Stoneblade?
Yeah,
I
it
can
is. It
like look
is.
at it now.
Um, there was there were 5 new decks, one of them being foil, that were all $90 plus in this sale.
Well, if it's foil, that barely counts.
Well, I don't know what all was in that deck. I'm just saying, like, I'm looking at of the decks that were $90 and above. There were 5 decks that were $90 and above on that sale that were new to the inventory, meaning that they opened them recently. One of them being a Kickstarter version that they priced out at $450. It didn't sell, but it's interesting to sort of see that get asked. It is a triple shambler deck. But that might be one of the potentially most expensive triple shambler asks we've ever seen. And so I think it's
Was
kind
the
of
rest of it good?
I don't know. I was that's why I was where I was leading with it. It's called the Companions of Shadow. And I'll pull it up on screen for everybody here. Uh,
You said this was a Kickstarter?
yeah, it's on the Grey Viking Games, but it's a Kickstarter edition deck.
I don't know how you tell the Kickstarter because this has a little circle on it.
You they're blue. Or the colors are different, but this is what Grey Viking
All
Games
right.
says the set is Kickstarter.
Okay, I believe them. That doesn't seem like something they would screw up.
Let me get Ashteki capture working here.
Ooh, it's a Stitcher. Corrupt Shambler. This deck's fine.